연결된 협력의 무대 2025 APEC을 미래로 도약할 모두의 무대로 만들어 주실 것으로 믿습니다. 전쟁의 빚더미에서 산업화를 일궈내고 역사의 구비구비마다 민주주의를 지켜내온 우리 대한민국의 역사가, 그리고 오늘의 우리 대한민국이 여러분에게 위기를 헤쳐갈 영감과 용기를 선사할 수 있기를 기대합니다. 고맙습니다.
Thank you very much, President Lee. From now on, we would like to begin our first session on global economic issues and challenges. This first session will be delivered by Mr. David Hill, CEO of Deloitte Asia Pacific. With more than 30 years of work at Deloitte, he's leading over 100,000 professionals across 23 countries. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our first keynote speaker, David Hill, with a warm round of applause.
Well, good morning, Mr. President, distinguished guests, colleagues and friends. It's a great privilege to stand here before you at this wonderful summit as the knowledge partner of the APEC 2025 Summit. The Republic of Korea is a truly remarkable nation whose transformation stands as a defining story of our era. The miracle on the Han River is exactly that, a remarkable miracle, with GDP per capita increasing from a mere $67 in 1953 to $35,000 today. A wonderful story. Likewise, this CEO Summit's theme, Beyond, Bridging and Business, is a very apt theme for our summit. I say this as someone who studied the findings and the insights from our 2025 CEO survey. And I'd like to share with you some of the remarkable insights from that survey. We were privileged to have responses from over 1,200 CEOs across the APEC region, covering more than 18 APEC economies. The first insight is a rather remarkable one, but perhaps in the world today, not surprising. And that is something that we at Deloitte refer to as the certainty gap. Confidence at home, more cautious abroad. 7 out of 10 of the APEC leaders surveyed were confident in their company's performance. Less than half were confident in the global economy. The next insight relates to growth. And perhaps for me, the most heartening finding of all of our survey was that growth remains the number one priority for the 1,200 CEOs surveyed. But interestingly, the primary driver of that growth is shifting to technology. 42% of APEC CEOs see that in 3 years' time, the primary driver of their growth will be innovation and new products. Today, that is only 29%. Again, very pleasingly and perhaps counterintuitively, international expansion remained the focus of CEOs, with more than half expecting their international expansion to double. And that will also lead to a rise in mergers and acquisitions across the APEC region. What is particularly pleasing for us is this statistic as well, that our region, the APEC region, will be the focus of this growth. More than half see their growth and their revenue being derived from this region doubling from 19% to almost 37%. What about capital and access to capital? Encouragingly, APEC leaders see access to capital improving. Those in the consumer industry, the technology, media and telecommunications industry, unsurprisingly see that capital surging with the investment in AI. And again, that will see M&A activity increasing with that access to capital. Now, increasingly, the appetite for M&A is in fact strongest in our Latin American economies. 71% of leaders there believe that they will invest in inorganic growth. Similarly, when it comes to industries, the most excited about M&A activity is the energy and resources industry, followed closely by life sciences and healthcare. So great optimism about access to capital and deploying that capital in the form of M&A. What about supply chains? We hear a lot about supply chains today right across the world. And we can see shifts occurring from efficiency to resilience. We see today that more than 50% of our CEOs are looking to diversify their supply chains, while 51% of them are investing in the digitisation and automation of those supply chains. Things like traceability through digital technology, regional supply hubs, and establishing resilience through alternate supply channels. What about public policy? There will obviously be a lot of discussion over this forum in relation to policy. Policy, according to the CEOs, is both a catalyst and a constraint. Unsurprisingly, more than 50% of our CEOs are calling for harmonisation of policy and regulation across the APEC region. And interestingly, perhaps not intuitively, 50% are calling for stronger regulation around digital and data within geographic boundaries. What is pleasing, though, is that almost universally, the CEOs are calling for greater multilateral agreements, particularly here in the APEC region. And history testifies to that. We've seen trade within the APEC economies doubling since 2006. What about sustainability? A somewhat controversial conversation today. And the results are very divergent. Pleasingly, 59% of CEOs will increase their investment in sustainability this year. That compares to only 29% last year. However, the investment in sustainability differs a lot by geography and industry. For example, in Latin America, 76% of CEOs intend to increase their investment in sustainability and see it as critical to their strategy. 69% in Southeast Asia, 68% in Northeast Asia, and 32% in North America. Similarly, it differs a lot by industry. The focus in energy and resources and in life sciences and healthcare is high. Not so much, perhaps concerningly, in the technology, media and telco sectors, where we know the use of electricity is high. Now, it's taken this long to get to AI. What's the story in relation to AI? Well, unsurprisingly, investment is strong, with more than half of respondents boosting their investment and spending on AI. But again, the results differ by geography. North America stands as the highest, with 60% of CEOs boosting their investment in AI. In the telecommunications, telco and media sectors, that rises to 70%. But what was profound is that contrary to this view that there might be a bubble, 60% of APEC CEOs said they are already seeing the benefits of AI and the investment in AI. So, when we reflect on the findings of this survey, what do we conclude? We conclude that it is one of optimism. Our CEOs across AP are what we call visionary realists. They're ambitious but pragmatic, and they're dexterous. They're growing whilst cutting. They're playing offence and defence. They partner and they compete. And as one famous statement from Tancredi said, they recognise that if we want things to stay the same, a lot has to change. And they are changing. We see that. They are exercising what we call expansive resilience, turning disruption into opportunity and advantage. And they're doing it on the move, changing the engines whilst flying the plane. So a story of optimism, agility, and adaptability. So in closing, we at Deloitte are very proud to be the knowledge partner for this outstanding summit. We are committed to working with governments, with businesses and societies right across the APEC community to build a better future. A future, as Mr. President said, built on collaboration. Why? Because collaboration is the ultimate bridge builder. It's a builder from today to beyond, a builder from local to global, and it is a builder between business and society. Bridge, business, and beyond. So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow delegates, we wish you, on behalf of Deloitte, a wonderful summit, and we look forward to the very tangible actions coming from this outstanding event. Thank you.
Let's have a good round of applause for Mr. David Hill. Well, the place was experiencing a bit of a seismic change at the beginning, but you've still managed to open up the program in the most graceful way. Thank you so much, Mr. Hill, for giving us a comprehensive overview and assessment of the current business landscape as we approach the end of 2025. Expansive resilience was the important keyword to take note of. If the stage has been cleared and the podium is ready, now I'd like to introduce our next speaker, who's going to offer further depth and perspective to the session. Mr. Matthias Cormann is the 6th Secretary General of OECD, and before taking the office, he was the Australian Finance Minister for 7 years. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Secretary General Matthias Cormann up to the stage with a massive round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. Dear Mr. President Lee Jae Myung, Chairman Jae Taiwan, our host, Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues, friends all. Thank you very much for the invitation